So if you're really interested in figuring out how you can use Claude Code more, go and check out on my website. There's the comprehensive guide to Claude Code. And we're actually going to go and edit that article with a couple more insights that I just gained. So use refined tickets for Claude Code with Claude for Claude Code executions. So I've got an MCP server set up, and I'm just going to give it the URL. Say I want you to find this post and update it with some of these insights. And we'll just give it that as the insight. And the other insights are here, which is I need to go into my Claude.ai chat, and then we are just gonna dump in all of this stuff here. And then we'll just tell it to trigger a redeploy. So that is what we're going to get doing. Then change something minor in app/web and trigger a redeploy. Cool, so we got that one going. Right, next thing we're doing is working on a PR that Claude Code made for us, which is a data ingestion pipeline. So I just dumped in everything I needed. And then we have this in review PR. So let me just say it is actually collection posts, and then we're going to get another Claude Code set up again. So let me go and find that, and I'm just going to put on a new track. Alright guys, let's get cracking. We're on a work tree now, which is what one is that? I think it's this one here. Let me have a look. Yeah, this is the one, OS112. This is the work tree we want to go into. I'm going to merge this into main, and then we're going to try running it, I think, because YOLO, you know. Don't exactly need to worry too much whilst we're not really that live. Cool. So let's just merge it in. I want you to merge this PR in. Into and there you go guys, look, MCP server, we're rocking the updates, feeling the vibes. I want to run 20 samples of the Python script and ingest it into my local Supabase storage environment so that we have some media assets. Number one, let's merge the PR in. And Number 2, let's clean up the branches plus git work tree. Number 3, let's run the Python script with a sample of data and validate that it uploads to our Superbase local stack environment. Cool, so we've got that one going. Let's have a look at what else we can do. Deployment for self-hosting is actually on APR. This one has been closed. That's a good one. I've also got a linear MCP server set up in that as well now, so I can basically just add it to the description. So say create a git work tree for this and use scripts. And by the way guys, if you're new to git work trees, basically they're just like individual repositories inside a folder structure inside your main repo. And I like to use custom shell scripts to copy across and manage my entire work trees. And that means that you can pull in environment variables which are naturally git ignored. So you do have to have a kind of nice kind of system for managing git work trees. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to tell it git work trees, and you can also do this. You can add scripts into linear, and then we can just copy this issue ID, pop it in Claude. So I just set up Claude MCP directly with linear, and then you'll now see that we have this. So I can say I want you to build a separate. I want you to do this task in linear, and it'll create a directory for this. Let's just have it as a job that is a cron job that cleans up stale assets that have been marked as deleted. We also need to ensure that the media reference IDs are not referenced on other team content items or generations or scheduled posts. So basically, if the media ID, well, do we want to delete those? They might have added images. Yeah, we don't need to delete media IDs. We just need to cleans up team content items with a soft delete pattern that are older than 60 days. I suggest adding this into the system settings table so that we can dynamically change this based on our requirements. So that's something I'm doing quite a lot, which is this idea of having a system settings table. It's basically just a really simple key value store. So if I just show you this, you can have a system settings table and you can define things like your margin. You can define things like that are going to be utilized across not only the application code, but also the database logic. So if we're using something like pgcron, then probably better to keep that inside of a Postgres table, and then we don't end up having to write any custom application code logic for that. We can just have a simple cron job that looks at a table and says, oh yeah, that's older than 60 days. Let's delete that. So I do like this idea of a flexible system settings table. That obviously it means you have to bring some form of type inference into that in your application code because you're just using a key of text and a value of JSON blob, but it does give you the flexibility to have some dynamicness about things in a system. So profit margin is a good example. If you're doing usage-based pricing, or yeah, depends on what you're trying to accomplish. But for me, this kind of works. So then we can just have a simple pgcron that runs every 60 days. Cool. So let's see if that triggered a free Vercel build. Yeah, and for everyone who's like joining, have a look at this article I wrote called The Comprehensive Guide to Claude Code. And basically I was talking in that about how there's like some things that you can do. So like the problem is either like a prompt problem or a context problem or a model problem. But that's actually something else we should add, is this idea that like a problem is either one of these three. So I actually talked to Alex about that. You know, this is basically it. This should be the workflow. So this workflow is kind of like, let me just go here. Can you add this? But basically this idea of if it's a problem, then it was like not specific enough in the prompt or not the right context, or it's an evaluation / testing problem, i.e. not enough feedback on the task, or not good enough evaluation feedback, or it's a model problem. So, you know, like 2 years ago, GPT-3 was not good enough to write React code, right? But we're at the point now, as models increase, the problems are becoming, how do you know that the LLM has given you a good output? And what is the task you're trying to solve, and what is the task context that helps you achieve that output, right? So I think that's why test-driven development is making a bit of a comeback. And I've come up with a newer way of evaluating things, which is basically just using a runtime test for it. So have a look at the blog article that I wrote on that. It's called Evaluation Driven Development, but essentially what that is entailing is this idea, and I'll just show you this, so this idea of self-healing architectures. So for example, if you have a caption rendering system, we provide a bunch of file blobs, right? So file glob path, we SHA-256 those, we output a rendered video, then you could use some kind of output to analyze how well it did. You look at things like the caption positioning, the font rendering, and you would basically figure out, okay, these source files led to this kind of generation. We then evaluate that, we have some kind of evaluation, and that creates a feedback system where you essentially just have an infinite loop inside of Claude Code, because you've now empowered Claude Code with a test that helps you at that evaluation layer, right? So thinking about smarter ways that you can evaluate rather than just using unit tests or integration tests or end-to-end tests. And I think those are the kinds of things that are really interesting at the moment. And obviously as the models get better, the problems are going to be, how do you evaluate it, and are you providing the right task context? Now, task context obviously is becoming easier because Claude Code can agentically search on your code base and use commands like grep and find, etc. So that's less of a problem, but I think the evaluation problem is kind of still unsolved, which is why I've been spending a lot of time specifically building custom evaluators. If you mix that with this idea of cassettes, so if you build custom cassettes, you won't have to run those tests all the time. You'll only build those when the source code changes, right? So you can almost have smarter tests that only actually run when your specific source code changes, which I think is quite cool. Anyway, so what we're doing here. So now we're going to implement this, and let's actually see. So it fetched this, received a 200. Can you do this on a Git worktree plus feature branch and make a PR against this? So it's telling us it wants to make a simpler script. I'm going to say I want a script that I can use for both local plus remote, i.e. a remote database. So make the script smart so that we can do local testing and remote testing. So this idea of like, I want to use it now, but I also want to use it later, right? And then it's just adding this insight about debugging AI outputs. Cool, so now we've got some MCP vibes going there, which is cool. Right, let's move this up one. I like prefixing them with Claude Code, and that is now in progress. Okay. Let's have a look at how many PRs we've got open. I think we've got a couple of PRs. Potentially merge some in. Oh yeah, The other insight that we should add is that additive is less dangerous than file modification because it just means it doesn't work. Something new is broken, right? Whilst file modification means we might change the behavior of something, and file deletion means we might remove the behavior of something, right? And I think that's quite interesting because then if you think about it, additive file manipulation is essentially cheap because even if it doesn't work, you haven't hurt anyone, right? As long as newer services aren't using it, like older services aren't using it. If older services are using it, then yeah, that's kind of different. But if you're just adding services, is there really a problem if it doesn't work? Probably not. Okay. Oh, no. I think we already have a bucket. How do I check my buckets, guys? Maybe storage. Team media. This is where you have to sort of monitor things. What are we getting here? Looks like there was also something about vector embeddings being vector embedding type. Yeah, I think vector column as a string type is also a bug that we need to fix. So let me just put that in there. And also, whenever you encounter a bug, just add it to Claude Code for project understanding, perhaps in Fastify, as that's where embeddings happen. Add it as cultural knowledge. Yeah. This idea of adding cultural knowledge over time I think is really important. So this, you don't have to remember to do it every time, right? Right. Oh, this one made a huge number of files. made a creative concept service, a shared DTOs, a social media service. All of this stuff is additive, right? If you actually look at what we had minus 485 lines and we added 32,000 lines of code. So we didn't really, in my opinion, actually cause anything to work differently. We just made it so that new things work differently. And we also modified the Claude.md rules. So what I'm going to do is, because the team media assets doesn't have a file URL column, why is that? Team media assets. What's it? This is an alter table expression that adds. Do I need to run the database migration? You might need to run the database migration for that. Oh yeah, the other thing that I want to add, yeah, we're adding this as cultural knowledge, you can see here, the vector embeddings. So let's go back to that post. The other thing I want to add is this idea, like, also add to this post work on the context first, then the prompt. If that fails, then if all else fails, switch model provider. You should switch model provider last, in my opinion. Also, if you are working on a very hard task, just use the best model. Talk about incrementality. Cool, so we've got another PR there. This should now be updated. This C data, oh look at that, got some more junk in. It's probably, what should we call it, Pocket Base screwing up. Cool, that's better. I also got one thing happening at the bottom where we're sort of getting this also, I want to add, you should be using Claude Code to build specific pieces of infrastructure, whether that is custom MCP servers, to build blog content faster, or whether that is a tool for bootstrapping more development faster, i.e. building an eval suite, or whether that is building infra for Claude Code, i.e. nightly jobs with rate limiting. Build the factory, think Factorio vibes. Yeah, add that stuff too. Okay, cool. So we've got a PR for dynamically clearing soft delete patterns, so we'll go check that out. Media asset retention and content item retention. Default 60 days, created soft deleted media function that reads retention settings. We are just engineering managers now, peeps. I am abstracted away from the code. System settings, team media assets, team content items. Okay, cool. So we have a soft delete. Log cleanup summary goes to activity stream. And that's fine. Do we have a PG tab test for this? Yeah, I quite like that. That's nice. Don't like that. I'm going to also say, and I quite like doing this, so this is how I use Claude Code. So I'll basically say, like, number one, do that, which is probably a good idea to make the cron job idempotent if I've got called more than once. Number two is I want you to write a couple of PG tab tests to prove to me that your functionality that you just wrote works. Yeah. So this idea of get Claude Code to bootstrap the tests, run the tests, and check and verify the work. Yeah, look, interesting. Look, breaking changes, none, all changes are additive, right? This idea of additive changes does not lead to breaking changes. Yeah. AI tools. Credit management API for balance, reservation user stat. That's cool. Social media, added social media domain API endpoints for account management or post scheduling, analytics creation, workflow orchestration and token refresh. Okay. Introduce new content service, implementation types, documentation. Bum, 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 bum. Right, so look at this. Interesting. Created the tests, right? But did you run the tests? Did you run the tests? Prove to me that it worked, right? It cost me nothing to prompt it and ask it, but it will sometimes be like, oh, I ran the test and I found this bug. And then I'm like, yeah, you didn't really fix the error, did you? There you go, there, look. Also got some merge conflicts there. Oh, we should install pgtap if it is not installed in RDB. Definitely add this. I should also add that we should add this to the PNP dev script and make it idempotent. I.e., when a new developer joins, i.e. Claude Code, because Claude Code is going to need assets to work with, right? So it's all about trying to figure out how do we achieve kind of an idempotent script that when Claude Code runs PNPM dev or a new developer joins, they immediately get this seeded data as a kickoff job if they haven't already got the data in the specific Superbase local stack. And this is going to be useful. We could also add this as a separate turbo repo, come on. So this idea that Claude Code is aware of how to seed data into a local stack environment is quite useful for our CI/CD pipelines. And if we have a look here now, you'll see in media assets, we have now got a bunch of assets, and these have been run through a storage path. Now I just need to see, did we get, so we got a content category, but we didn't get all of the columns that I was expecting. So if I just sort this by searchable keywords, I'll say also I want to make it so that we actually use the AI on this seed script to simulate proper content upload, right? I'm going to hop off in a minute, guys, but I hope some of this has been valuable for you. It's certainly blowing my mind, isn't it? So for sure. So, where do we go from here? Well, first thing is I've just been editing this Claude Code article, which is now live. So I'm just going to check that a bit more. The 3 AM debug, cool. And we'll just deploy that again one more time, and then I'm gonna head off, guys. So I hope you've enjoyed the stream a little bit. Just thought I'd show you what I've been up to, which is always fun. We'll just do a fresh deploy. We won't use the existing build cache. La di da di da. La di da. And I want you to prove to me that the script has properly executed, and we can see all of the AI metadata for agentic search. Close this one down. I think I'm going to work on this for the rest of this afternoon. That's the plan. I guess we could start building out the Landgraph agent. I mean, why not, guys? You know, it's not like we're limited on bandwidth anymore. Landgraph agent. Now there is a task dependency on this because we want to use Landgraph agent. We want to use all of the tool calling from this PR. So this is where it gets quite interesting. Is like one PR depends on another PR. So like this TikTok social pipeline, which is refactoring the APIs, is actually quite critical for me when I'm going to be implementing the agentic stuff. So I do think we probably want to, we probably want to work on this one, this social pipeline, and get that working. But I'm going to put this here anyway to be done. Self-hosting is coming along quite nicely. This I think we can probably in a second. Yeah, there you go, look. Function is working as designed. See, look, this is the classic example. Classic example. Claude Code thought that the code that it worked didn't work, right? And then, oh, I see the activity stream has different columns. It literally updated the cleanup function, and then it said the tests work, right? So I would have committed poor code if I hadn't have got it to write a test. So that is why I'm literally just 100%, whatever it's doing, I'm like, You write it, you run it, you check and see if it works, right? Because then you get the power of scale whilst you also get the power of reliability. And I think that is heavily under leveraged right now. Most people are using it for like autocomplete, but really you could just use it to build the shit and then get it to validate or verify with some degree of testing. So so that works correctly. PR is ready. Let's merge that in then. Great. I've got my cat here now. Come on. Got a new cat here. Oh, look at this. His name is Cosmo. Hello, buddy. You're on the stream? Right. Now I've got to give this cat some attention. I'm going to jump off stream, guys, but hopefully that was valuable to you. And yeah, feel free to go check out my articles. They're on OctoSpark. So I've mainly just been having some fun on that. And I would recommend reading this evaluation-driven development, which is what I've been talking about, where you're using custom evaluators, whether that's a runtime test, a PG tap test, a playwright script, or a AI-enabled evaluator to evaluate the work of Claude Code. So go check it out, and yeah, have a great weekend. I'll probably be on tomorrow for a couple hours.